Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are talking about the Denver Broncos in today's video. 9-2, what is that, like 8 straight victories. They're undefeated at home. And so here's the deal. Alright, yesterday, we covered the NFL on this channel, right? I'm watching the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. I'm watching my Packers and Giants at 1 o'clock, alright? Those games end, time to hit the record booth, right? So we make a couple of videos. And then the 4 o'clock slate, I am watching the Seahawks take on the Los Angeles Rams. By the time that game is over and I make a Seahawks video because they lost, the Saturday night or Sunday night football game is already on. All right, Lions, Eagles already playing. So the Chiefs-Broncos game, I was paying a little bit attention to just as an NFL fan. And I don't know. I didn't see the final score. I fell asleep halfway through Sunday Night Football. Sunday night was kind of a wash. So today, it's Monday. It's actually late on Monday. I'm watching Colin Cowherd at, noon or 1 o'clock or whatever it is. And one of his opening segments was the Kansas City Chiefs. And I didn't really put two and two together thinking, oh, they're talking about the 5-5 Kansas City Chiefs because their season might be over. So a couple of hours later, I'm at the gym, good old Planet Fitness, and I see that the Broncos beat the Chiefs. And I don't know what it was, late start this morning, early end last night, didn't really put two and two together, and I discovered the Denver Broncos beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And so immediately I'm thinking, why was nothing I saw on TV Bronco related? Why was everything Chiefs related? And obviously it makes sense because you got to play the hits. You got to talk about Kansas City. You got to talk about Patrick Mahomes. But I'm sitting here at the gym and it all comes together. Holy effing crap. The Denver Broncos just beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Why is this not the headliner on just like the newspaper? That is insane. I live in Florida, by the way, so it's obviously not going to be on the newspaper. But oh my God. And of course, in good old Denver Bronco versus Kansas City Chiefs fashion, the narrative today, and I'm assuming all week, is, are the Chiefs in trouble? Nothing about this 9-2 Denver Broncos team. The Denver Broncos are 9-2. I cannot believe it. They've won so many straight games. They shouldn't have lost to the Colts. All right, you guys got a face video today. We don't talk about this in edited videos. That loss against the Colts, come on, that was some BS. But anyways, it's honestly insane. I'm sure you guys enjoyed today's Victory Monday, and I'm sure you guys are going to have one damn fun week because the Broncos also just hit their bye. So not only are they one of the best teams in the AFC, not only leading the AFC West pretty convincingly, Los Angeles just lost to Jacksonville as well. I got to spit this in out because I'm feeling the hiccups. But folks, welcome back to the channel. Alright, thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. You can maybe kind of feel the hiccups coming in right about now. I don't make too many face videos, but last week, for example, we didn't even cover the Broncos' last win. And I prefer making these videos so much, but people don't really watch these all that often, and I feel like I don't really do them consistently. So maybe if I start doing them consistently, people will like them more, but I don't know. I didn't have the clips ready. NFL copyright's really annoying. I can't just post the whole game yesterday and be like, all right, let's talk over it. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. So, folks, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, hyping it, commenting, whatever you feel like doing, thank you so much. I love my Broncos fans. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, the first time I ever made a Broncos video was like right before the Russell Wilson season. And it is just honestly, genuinely crazy what this team has gone through to get to this position. One of, if not the best defense in the entire NFL. And, the Broncos have won 8 straight games. So we've talked about this relatively often, but it's funny how these teams, like, even the Patriots, for example, like, you don't pick your schedule. There are a lot of teams on the Broncos schedule and teams all across the league where, like, just think of the Bengals, for example. The Bengals were supposed to have Joe Burrow. The Ravens were supposed to have Lamar Jackson for the whole season. So I hate strength of schedule. All that matters is your record. I mean, just to keep it a buck. All right, the Broncos have won a couple of close games. Maybe you don't believe in their big win streak because they're beating teams like the New York Jets. But They're 9-2. I mean, the Broncos are 9-2. It's actually unbelievable. I almost had to pinch myself. I had a couple of notes from this game. If I'm not mistaken, around exactly 1 year ago, you guys played a very similar game, and the game-winning field goal was blocked. All right, here we go. Through the first 10 weeks of 2025, the Broncos had just one win against the team with a winning record. I hate stats like that. I really do. Kansas City had won 17 of this series' last 18 matchups that hadn't involved starters missing out. So I know my Broncos fans watching this are pretty excited right now. You know, there's no J.K. Dobbins. There's no Pat. There's no Alex Singleton. You guys are missing some pieces. The Broncos have been winning fourth quarters. They're 63-point margins, the seventh best mark at this point in a season since 2000. So this Broncos team feels special. And, you know, we kind of talked about it 1 year ago. I still feel like this team is a year away from, like, really hitting their stride, like, really becoming one of those teams where it's like, oh, shit. Like, oh, my goodness. Bo Nix really silenced the haters. But to be honest with you, man, I'm not really a naysayer like some people are. There's a lot of people out there in the ether that really hate Bo Nix. You know, they think he's like this check down merchant. They think he can't throw the deep ball. They think he's not athletic. One thing when you watch the Broncos, get Bo Nix running more often, throwing on the run. He's so good at it. We saw numerous big-time plays, whether it was 48 yards to Pat Bryant, whether it was 35 yards to Troy Franklin, whether it was special teams with Marvin Mims, whether it was Jaquan McMillan getting 2 sacks and an interception. Have a freaking week. I hope you're defensive player of the week because you look like it. The Broncos have one of the best defenses in the NFL. And offensively, statistically, they're around like middle of the pack in a lot of different categories. Bo Nix just went 24 of 37 for 295, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And I actually love that stat line. First off, he just threw for 300. That works for me. I don't care about the touchdowns. You're playing a divisional game against one of the best teams in the recent decade. You do what you got to do to win it. I don't care how it looks. I don't care if it's ugly. You do what you got to do to win that football game. And sorry, I just saw Jake Ferguson score a touchdown. Thinking fantasy football, I got Dak Prescott. My buddy's got CeeDee Lamb. I'm hoping that all works out. But special teams, defense, offense, this was a complimentary win. And you guys hit your bye week. And then I think you got Washington and Vegas. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but it feels like the AFC West is Denver's to lose. You know, we can be talking home playoff games. We can talk seeding maybe after your bye week because I just want you guys to enjoy it. You just beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't care what the NFL media, TV world says. That was maybe the biggest Denver Broncos win I've seen. It is the biggest Denver Broncos win I have seen in my tenure covering the National Football League, which is only like 3 years in. So enjoy this week. Enjoy this weekend of no stress. And let me know your thoughts on this 9-2 Denver Broncos team down below. Thank you for watching. Peace.